Let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking the incredibly raw, unfiltered philosophy of YouTube creator Tomcat. Whether you're already familiar with his channel or not, his worldview is an absolutely fascinating lens for looking at individuality and the digital landscape we're all navigating right now. We're going to break down exactly what he means when he talks about living life entirely on your own terms.
Okay, so let's just dive right in. Do you have true freedom? It's a heavy question, right? But it's the exact challenge Tomcat throws at his audience from the jump. And just to be clear, he isn't talking about political freedom or constitutional rights here. No, he is talking about absolute, zero compromise, personal autonomy.
And that brings us to his core thesis. In his own words, if you have to question if you have it, most likely you don't. Today, we're exploring his seriously provocative stance on what it actually means to be genuinely autonomous in today's world. See, according to him, true freedom is binary. You either possess it completely or you don't. Period. The mere act of hesitating to answer that question, well, in his eyes, that's proof you're still tethered to the expectations of everyone else.
Section 1. The Illusion of Freedom. Exploring the core philosophy.
So, to really get this, we need to look at how Tomcat actually defines personal liberty. Here are his exact parameters. For him, true freedom requires a complete 100% detachment from societal judgment. It's the ability to say what you need to say and do what you want to do, entirely free from the fear of any repercussions. It's all about stripping away that urge to be a people pleaser. If you're constantly adjusting your behavior just to go along and get along, well, his framework suggests you are fundamentally not free. To really drive this home, he uses a pretty stark analogy. Think about it. Stifling your true thoughts just to appease someone else, it essentially turns you into a puppet. And hey, if you're a puppet, you inherently need a puppeteer. By caring so much about what the crowd thinks, you are willingly handing over your own strings. You're giving other people the power to control you, which, as he argues, actively robs you of your own life's opportunities and your very limited time on this earth.
Section 2. The Herd Mentality Trap. Why Conformity is a Cage.
Now, what's really interesting here is how he contrasts individuality with collective groupthink. So how exactly does this play out in society? Well, Tomcat draws a very stark, completely unapologetic line between two types of people. On one side, you have the free. These are individuals who are authentic, self-directed, and just entirely unconcerned with external judgment. On the flip side, he uses the term the slave to describe those who conform. He argues that people who base their lives around the expectations of others, who just go along with the collective herd mentality to fit in, they might feel like they have free will, but they're practically enslaving themselves to the desires of people who honestly don't even care about them. And he points out a huge logical flaw in trying to conform to society's standards, which is society's incredibly short attention span. He argues that human beings are just inherently fickle. They might judge you, or as he says, clown you down for a second, but literally 10 minutes later, they've moved on to a cat video. Because of that, living in fear of being labeled cringe or agonizing over your image is just completely illogical. The crosshairs are inevitably going to move to someone else anyway, so you might as well shoot your shot. This whole idea is captured perfectly in this quote. You can't base your life around other people's choices and wants from you. Tomcat emphasizes that life is simply way too short to take so seriously or to overcomplicate. His whole view is that the people whose opinions you're stressing over right now, they're going to completely forget about you 50 years after you're gone. So why on earth let them write the script of your life right now? Moving on to Section 3, Authenticity versus Corporate Censorship, the critique of the modern creator economy. Now, Tomcat doesn't just aim this philosophy at everyday offline interactions. He points it straight at the digital world, aiming his harshest critiques at social media. He lays out the specific, really heavy compromises he believes modern creators make just to be advertiser-friendly. To get that monetization, he argues creators are censoring their speech, faking perfect lives that just don't exist, editing out their human mistakes, and totally abandoning spontaneity. He views this as essentially renting out your soul to corporate interests, conforming to this programmed cookie-cutter format just to secure a paycheck. And you can see his utter rejection of that system right here. On the right side, we have what he calls the superficial media darling. You know the type, relying on jump cuts, perfectly sanitized scripts, expensive camera setups, and constantly chasing that AdSense revenue. Contrasting that, on the left, is Tomcat's deliberate style. It is entirely unscripted. He openly admits he stumbles over his words, uses no research other than his own lived experience, shoots in his real environment, and completely ignores the pursuit of monetization. He literally wears his lack of polish as a badge of ultimate authenticity.
But listen, he isn't naive about the consequences of this choice. Tomcat freely acknowledges that true freedom, it isn't easy. It comes with incredibly heavy costs. If you stay true to yourself and refuse to filter your content, he notes that you're going to pay the price of being alienated, ostracized, or completely demonetized by the platforms. You literally risk losing the very audience you're trying to speak to. Which brings us to this incredibly powerful statement from the source material. When you toe the company line, not only are you selling out to the corporations, but your soul is for hire. He genuinely believes that platforms have completely strayed from their original roots. Instead of enabling genuine expression, he argues they now demand strict obedience to their terms of service, effectively forcing creators to alter who they fundamentally are. It definitely makes you wonder just how much of your favorite content is actually authentic versus just, advertiser approved.
Section 4. An uncompromising identity. External validation of Tomcat's persona. So, listening to all this intense anti-establishment rhetoric naturally raises a big question. Is this just an online persona for clicks, or is it a genuine lived philosophy? Well, a secondary source document titled Uncompromising Identity actually answers that. It features a quote from someone who knows him personally named Sharkbait, who completely validates Tomcat's claims. Sharkbait states, "He is the same way offline as he is online. He won't conform or be anything else but who he is." This external perspective reinforces that his rejection of conformity isn't an act. It's entirely consistent across both his digital output and his real-world existence. He genuinely, truly does not care what people think about him. And this refusal to conform totally extends to major societal structures too. His philosophy demands absolute independence from the establishment. He explicitly advises his followers not to rely on the traditional political binary, stating you shouldn't be Republican or Democrat, because he argues neither side genuinely cares about the individual. He urges people to step off what he calls the symbiotic line, meaning walk away from corporate pandering and collective expectations, and instead rely 100% on yourself. Now, despite the heavy profanity and the super aggressive delivery he often uses, Tomcat is actually surprisingly clear about his core mission. The ultimate goal of his content isn't just to vent online. It's to help his viewers find the right mindset to get through life. He wants to guide people toward living their best lives by figuring out how to navigate or ultimately even change a restrictive world. He claims he'll keep delivering this exact message even if he loses every single subscriber, just so long as he can look in the mirror with a clean conscience. Which brings us right back to you. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with Tomcat's central challenge, turned directly onto your own life. Take a hard look at the choices you make every single day. Are you truly living for yourself? Are you just living for the approval of others? It's a provocative thought, for sure, and one that absolutely demands an honest answer. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning things.